Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Age Trainer Podcast, episode number 10. My name is Joyce. Joyce? My name is Jaws. Forgot my own name there.
Nurse Jaws.
Nurse Jaws. Yeah, that's it. Nurse Jaws. And obviously, I'm joined by Rose, as always. There's a lot to talk about today, I will say. There's a lot to go down because the Pokemon Direct happened yesterday. So we got a lot of Scarlet and Violet news to cover. We'll just dive straight into it. We'll quickly skim through some topics before we jump into Scarlet and Violet. But a thing that popped up last week, last week was the Pokemon Company, Rose. They're doing something special for Halloween. They're releasing a product, at least in the States, that is trick or trade booster packs. And these are supposed to be bought at grocery stores or retailers or whatever, and then given out to kids on Halloween instead of just regular sweets, which I found kind of cool.
I love this idea. I think Pokemon Company has done always such a good job of putting out very timely products that just go along with the holidays or just like the general calendar year. And I love how into Halloween they've got. For some reason, I feel like we all know the reason why Halloween is such a popular holiday for Pokemon, but the fact that they're doing these cute little trick or treat packs is really nice, just given how popular content creators have actually been around like Halloween as well, by putting together these little trick or treat bags with just normal booster packs and candy. You have Halloween themed ones now instead.
Yeah,
pretty pumped.
it's pretty cool. They are mini booster packs, so you can see that I've got on screen now the booster bundle, which is it's like buying any kind of Halloween sweets or treats or whatever. You buy a big bag, it comes with loads of individual pieces. This includes 40 mini packs. So they are reprints from recent sets. Each pack contains 3 cards, and they all have this cool stamp logo. It reminds me of like the McDonald's ones, Rose, but they have this Pikachu as a pumpkin as the stamp on the card, which is really cool. And I assume they're all hollow too, is if I hazard a guess. But we've got a Mimikyu one, we've got a Mewtwo one currently revealed. But yeah, it's really cool. How much is the thing? I did see. So the bundle costs $15. So it's definitely meant, obviously, for kids to get on Halloween. I can imagine they're going to be slightly collectible, but $15 for 40 packs that contain 3 cards each. Like, yeah, I was worried about scalping and stuff like that, but I don't think these are going to be anywhere near that kind of frame of person. So
I don't think so, and I love that. I think Pokemon has started to do a better job of keeping up with the demand overall. Like, remember a couple of episodes ago, we talked about the like Pokemon had actually bought out the print company that was responsible for a lot of them. Yeah, exactly. So they have a little bit more hands-on with the quality control, the actual production of each of the card sets. And so I don't think that scalping is going to be an issue, but then on top of that, like, just what a great way to see something that community has already got behind, and now, like, what a fun way to kind of utilize that avenue to get more kids involved and just interested in Pokemon, or just kind of feed that already present interest.
Yeah, I mean, not only feeding the present interest, but like you said, getting new people into the card game. Like, Halloween's a good time to kind of do that. Kids are going to be trick-or-treating anyway. Why not just give them a small little booster pack with some cards? Maybe they'll be interested later down the line. If not, it's a cool little souvenir for them to have. And I mean, as collectors, I'll probably, if I can find one at, I don't know, Ralph's or, wherever, I might pick Target, yeah, I'll probably end up picking a bag up. 40 boosters, that's quite a lot. I'll probably open most of them. We'll see what we end up getting, but it's pretty sick. I'm happy that they're doing this kind of thing. Maybe they end up doing stuff for Christmas. I think this sets a very good precedent for them doing small holiday, not like a complete set, but like small little things for the different holidays. I think that's pretty cool. Fits in very well. Like, the UK would never do this. at all. Halloween's like not really a big thing in the UK, but in the States it's obviously quite big. There was a full press release about it, which obvious reasons, which is cool. I know they've done stuff like this in Japan before, Rose, so if you want to take a little look closer at the press release and whatnot, I'll leave a link to the Poker Beach article down in the description. Yeah, one more bit of news before we jump into the Scarlet and Violet was this new set, and we tend to talk about the new sets that come out, Rose, in Japan and the West, and I thought, maybe we'll just get this one that's coming up because Scarlet and Violet news is pretty important, but I found this one quite interesting because this is the first time we're seeing a V-Star card that is like a stage 1 Pokemon, like a basic Pokemon, which is the Alolan Vulpix.
Yeah, that is such a weird thing about this set. And it's only weird because, like, when you think about the V Stars or just V Maxes, it's always been meant for a Pokemon that has been fully evolved. Mewtwo, we've got obviously the legendary Pokemon, which I guess are like, are they basic? Are they fully evolved? Like that's actually a weird one. But like when you think about like down the line as well, when you have the other V stars that have come out for Charizard, for example, you're not gonna get a Charmander V star, but Vulpix, little bit of a weird one. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, to activate the V Star, you already have to have like the V. So I don't think they had a photo. Not on this page, at least. They don't have a photo of the other Vulpix, the other form of the Vulpix. But I'm curious if this is going to evolve into a Alolan Ninetales V Star. Can you put an Alolan Ninetales V Star on top of this V Star, or is this like this? This is it. This is as far as like the evolution line goes. Like I don't know.
I think it'll have to be as far as it goes because I think it gets weird into the actual TCG mechanic of using V-Star.
Yeah.
You can only V-Star evolve one of your Pokemon. So you have a V-Star marker that you turn over once you've already done that. And I think that if you were to like evolve the V-Star Pokemon, like I think it's one and done kind of deal.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a strange one. I wonder if it's actually going to be good. Obviously, I can't read Japanese, and TCG meta right now does elude me. But I'm curious if it's actually decent because this will be the first time like that's not legendary or just like there are lots of basic, I guess, Pokemon, but like not like a stage 1 like it has an evolution form being this good. So I'm curious of how it works out. They did release a couple of the character rares as well. They're just continuing this trend. I've got a good feeling that they're just not going to stop this character rare thing, Rose. I think this is going to be a permanent place in every set that isn't like a subset from now on.
I would be so excited about that. I think that the character rares have added such a neat element to each of the sets. Obviously, as a collector, I think there's just something really fun about opening a pack and then maybe getting a double hit since the character rares do take up that reverse holo slot. So maybe you get a character rare plus you get an alternate art from like the rest of the set or something, and you can just have like these sort of godlike packs that we've heard only rumors about for Japanese sets.
Oh man, if they start doing god packs in the Western releases of things, I'm gonna go crazy. I've never unpacked a god pack before, but like, goddamn, I think they're pretty cool. It is cool seeing someone opening a god pack because it's just like, oh my god, like there's just so much value in here. There's so much stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely with you, Rose. I'm super happy that they're just continuing with this character rare thing. My only small thought here is where do you go from here? Because if you have it as like not like a gimmick, but like we did it in Cosmic Eclipse. Oh, we're going to do it for this next set a few sets later, like 3 or 4 sets later, we're going to do it again. But like now it seems to be a standard thing. I really hope we're not getting, to use like a gaming term, I guess, like power creeping some of the sets. It's like, oh my God, what more can they add?
Yeah. Okay, so I totally see your point, right? Like, how do they one up the next set to make it as interesting to open if they decide to cycle out the character rares, right? I'm curious. Kind of feel like, I know we've been teasing, we're getting to the Scarlet and Violet news, but there is something in the Scarlet and Violet news that I actually think could play a role in keeping TCG collecting interesting.
Okay.
That's all about the Terrastol phenomenon. We will get there. We'll have to
Yes.
talk about it. But that to me, just I see massive dollar signs when it comes to terrestrialized Pokemon and what that's going to do to merchandise and the franchise as a whole. We'll get there.
It's gonna go crazy.
Gotta be
There is
crazy.
a Radiant Jirachi too, so Radiant's making a comeback in this set, which is cool. So it's like shiny Pokemon, which is epic. I'm
Yay.
curious if they're ever going to do like Gold Stars again, like they have done in the Generation 3. And that is about
They
it
could.
for this set. I really hope they do something like a Gold Star, because Gold Stars, for me at least, they're like the Holy Grail. It's like the crystal Pokemon, if you like Skyridge
Yeah.
and stuff like that. For me, Gold Stars are very much like the pinnacle of goddamn, like, because talking about power creep, like, and I don't want to be like, oh, it was better back in the day at all. I love the way they do rares now, and character rares are some of my favorite additions to the Pokemon trading card game ever. But
Yeah.
back in Power Keepers, back in Dragon Frontiers, you know, Unseen Forces, or Unknown Forces, you know, the subset for unknowns. It was very much like, okay, you had the Hollows, normal cards, then you had the
Mhm.
EXs, lowercase, and then you had the Gold Stars, which are one every couple of booster boxes and stuff. It was a very like simple kind of, it goes up and up and up, because now it's just like V's on V's and
Yes.
like V's on that crazy rare. Like, it is crazy. But like you said, Rose, maybe there's something crazy that's going to happen with Scarlet and Violet, which we'll move on to right now. Of course, the direct was yesterday as of recording this, which will mean it was 2 days ago, because I'm going to upload this tomorrow. Oh my god, the amount of information, Rose, it went hard. I Go.
I'm
Terrestrial Phenomenon,
ballistic.
go.
Yeah, okay. So, I gotta talk about this because everybody has been looking forward to what is going to be the mechanic, the gimmick of battling in Scarlet and Violet, especially being a part of the VG competitive community. I've also been very interested to see that, and we finally got our first glimpse of what that is going to be, and it's called the Terrastol Phenomenon. This phenomenon actually crystallizes this Pokemon like a gem, like a beautiful cut crystal. And essentially, it does things to the Pokemon's typing and will change that. So it's weird because first of all, these Pokemon get beautiful. They glisten, they look great, maybe look a little silly because they get like a little hat on top of their head
I
based
mean,
on the Terra type. It's
the
okay.
hats for the starters look great. Like, one is actually just a
They look
chandelier.
cool.
Like, they've just
Yeah.
put another Pokemon on top. Um, the grass
Candelabra.
starter, I think, is, it continues to be one of my favorites and a fan favorite, but that's just a bunch of flowers, and then you have just a water fountain, I guess, for the ducklet Pokemon. So
Yeah, and so I think that's going to be a standard depending on what the Terra type is. And so the information that we have received is that there are Terra types available that can be different than the typing of the original Pokemon. So while we did get a lot of information about, like, obviously Sprigatito having a grass Terra typing, so if it does terastalize, it just gets the added benefits for the grass type. We saw Eevee and Pikachu get featured as two Pokemon in particular that have access to Terra types that are not normal in flying or normal and electric respectively, right? We saw
yes,
Eevee with the grass, the water, the fire Terra type, and then Pikachu as well with the flying Terra type. And I'm just gonna put this out there. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get a water Terra type Pikachu
a
too,
1000%.
because how could we
Surf and
not,
Pikachu,
right?
yeah.
Exactly. Like that's just canon at this point that both of those Pokemon get special treatment because of how well loved they are by the community and like rightfully so. But it has begged a lot of questions of like, okay, well, based on what the mechanic of terastallization actually does to the Pokemon, what does that mean for competitive gameplay? Do we have to play this guessing game of what's the Terra type? Do you really have access to all 18 Terra types for a Pokemon? That's questions that we don't really have answers to yet to talk fully about the potential of this mechanic.
It seems on the surface kind of insane because, like you said, if you can go like to almost every type, like that, yeah, like you said, that is a lot of guessing, and I think it removes like so much. Well, I was going to say like obvious things, but like so much of the foundation of Pokemon is removed if you just allow a single Pokemon to go any other type. What Pokemon did I see? Was it Shedinja? And it was like
Gosh,
Ghost
Shedinja
and something.
Yes, so Shedinja is a ghost bug type Pokemon that has the
Yes.
ability Wonder Guard. And Wonder Guard basically just means that Shedinja cannot take any damage from a
Unless
move
it's
that
a
is not
crit.
super
Oh,
effective.
super effective, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. It also only has 1 HP. And so there's really cool ways that you can kind of cheese that Pokemon to stay around. But could you imagine this? People have been talking about, like, what if you Terrastalize Shedinja with, like, an electric
Yes, so it's almost got
Terra-type or
no
something?
weaknesses. There are Pokemon out there that have no weaknesses. Like I think there may be a couple, but they aren't resist to like a crazy amount. But like,
Spiritomb, I think, is one of those
yes,
that's like, it's got a
imagine.
weird typing that, yeah.
There's one of two things that happens there, Rose. I think they just don't include Shedinja in the game because it would be too insane
So
of a
broken.
Pokemon. It's like, well, you actually just can't kill me. Good luck. Like, I guess we just run down the timer, I suppose, right? Or weather effects, or like something that like a status move, but then maybe poison just doesn't work. Like, something stupid. Or, which I think is the more reasonable way of looking at this, I think there's going to be a list of types that your Pokemon can Terrastalize. Jesus.
I had to practice this.
Yeah, I bet. Terrastalize into. And I think Pikachu and Eevee, like you said, are going to be the ones that Terrastalize into the most types. Eevee more so because, well, Eevee can almost go into every type, right? Because Eevee already has like a ton of types it can go into, like grass, like water, fire, etc., because of the evolutions. So it makes sense for Eevee specifically to have a ton. Pikachu, canon. Is Pikachu going to be a meta? Oh, my headset just died. Is Pikachu going to be meta? I don't know. Probably not on its own. That would make a whole bunch of sense. Headset's just completely died. Hello.
Uh-oh.
Headset. Okay,
Hello?
well, I changed my battery. You can go.
Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Pikachu is definitely one of those Pokemon that are going to end up getting more than one Terra type available to it. But that's the thing, is that the website and the presents information conflict a little bit. So presents information, it talks very basically about terastalization and that it's going to basically boost your Pokemon's moves once you terastalize, and also it will change typing. The website goes into a bit more detail than that, which says that based on the Terra type that the Pokemon has, you basically become that type. And then obviously you take on the strengths and the weaknesses of being that particular type. What's unclear is there's language on the website that says that, because there are 18 different Terra types, like there are 18 different types in the game, there are countless numbers of permutations that could happen for Terra types and Pokemon. But that just seems a little bit too much. Every Pokemon can Terastalize. You can only use it once in the entirety of the battle, but then it sticks, kind of like Mega Evolution. So until the battle concludes, your Pokemon does keep the Terastalization. So it's very interesting to see how that's all going to end up working out.
Yes.
I feel like at the end of the day, we'll get, just to keep things more simple, because you'll have to do Terra raid battles in order to actually get these Terra typed Pokemon.
Yep.
Is my understanding. And so maybe you get like there's whatever this is in the game, the Gardevoir. There's a screenshot of a Gardevoir.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe there's like a Gardevoir that has access to like 3 different Terra types.
I think that does make the most sense. This happens with every single game and like every community and whatever, right? But it's you see one thing, jump to conclusions. Like it's going to be
Yeah.
OP and all this kind of stuff. And I can kind of understand why the Pokemon Company don't lay out the full details, and they most of the time don't for Pokemon games, right? They don't lay out the full
Mhm.
details. It's more of like you jump in, you see how it works, and it's like, oh, okay, you kind of discover it yourself, or you discover it online or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's, sometimes a lot of the fun is discovering this kind of stuff yourself. So it's definitely
Exactly.
worthwhile holding your horses just for a little bit and just kind of seeing how it does end up playing out when the game releases, or if they release more information, because this is the first time we're seeing something like this. So definitely not worth jumping to conclusions. Is it funny thinking about a Shedinja that might just be invincible? Yes it is. Yeah,
Oh,
another
isn't
one that
that
came up
right?
as well I saw on Twitter Rose was Tyranitar. If Tyranitar could
Yes,
terastallize too, because Tyranitar's it's got a lot of weaknesses, like a ton. But if he
it
could
does.
terastallize, oh boy, that's going to be OP.
There is a very funny interaction, and why Tyranitar has been brought up is because one, it's like a pseudo legendary. It has really great base stats, so it's a very powerful Pokemon, and everybody loves to use it. It's one of my favorites to use in
Yeah,
competitive.
same.
Um, and then there's something really funny you can do with it with a Gourgeist that knows Trick or Treat. Can actually use that to give the ghost typing over to Tyranitar. So even though it would normally be 4 times weak to fighting type
Yeah.
attacks, basically giving it the ghost typing makes it
Yeah.
completely immune to that one weakness that it has. But is obviously still, affected by like grass type, ice type, water type, and whatever else that it's going to be weak to. But it's very funny to think about the fact that you could have like a ghost typing Terra type Tyranitar that you've
Exactly.
terastallized, and like, now what do you do to it? So,
Can you answer me this actually? Because I've
yeah.
not read into it too much. The terastallizing type, does that mean a Pokemon? Does it erase one of the types? If it's a dual type, which type does it erase? Does it erase the primary type? I would assume it erases the primary.
So that's a great question that I don't think the community is entirely convinced on yet
Yeah.
of what's going to happen.
Because if you gave a
According to
Pokemon
the
three
website,
types, that
I
that's
don't think that's what it
busted.
is.
Yeah,
So
it would
according
make
to the
sense.
website, I think it's just a complete override, which is
Okay.
why that at the end of the day, that Tyranitar thing is very funny, but also you have to think about the fact that you're losing access to the same type attack bonus that you would get for some of its
Yes.
strongest
Of course.
moves. And like, what ghost type attack are you gonna run that's actually gonna benefit from
Yeah.
getting a stab from the actual Terra ghost type? But
Not
yeah,
much.
so it sounds like it's just whatever the Terra type of the Pokemon is, once you terastallize it,
It
you
is that monotype.
you override.
Boom.
It is just a monotype Pokemon.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
We'll have to wait and see, because I prefer this over Dynamax. I will say, I've talked to you about this before.
Yeah.
Just I much prefer it. I think adding it adds a new layer into the VGC, because it did very much feel like not an experienced VGC player. Just going to point that out there. I enjoy playing VGC.
Hmm.
It's very fun. I use a lot of rental teams and trying out different things and whatnot. It is great fun. But when I Dynamax my Kyogre and Max Geyser or anything and it's a one shot, it just doesn't feel as satisfying as like having a bit of a back and forth, and like it leads into another discussion of like, oh, Zamazenta having Behemoth Blade double damage on like that also one shots, and
Yeah,
Zamazenta
yeah.
being really dumb. Like I kind of prefer this as like a more casual player for sure, because the Dynamax, it does feel like if I manage to wipe out that Dynamax, or if I like just Dynamax first and then I'm getting a KO, like
Hmm.
most of the time, at least the rankings I play, it just kind of snowballs out of control. There's nothing you can do, because, for example, my Katana the other day, I was just kind of dunking on people because Beast Boost, then I Max Knuckle 2x already, or like up 2 stages for attack, or like I Steel Spike, my defense goes up, and yeah, Beast Boost, it's just a massive
Exactly.
snowball. So I'm very much looking forward to this type. Excited to see how the VGC does handle it and how the rest of the community handle it if they don't implode, which is, yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun to see people come up with different theories and whatnot. So
I think the one big thing that people should keep in mind with thinking about the potentially endless number of possibilities of Terra types and Pokemon combinations is that for Dynamax versus Terastallization, as of right now, if we had all Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet access to every single, Terra type, 18 types, it would still be easier for you than Dynamax for anybody because of the point that you just made. If you get the Dynamax wrong on the other team, sometimes it leads to just an unwinnable scenario for
Yeah.
you. You mess up, that's it. You've lost the game. For the terastallization phenomenon, even if you had 18 different possibilities, and I guess multiply that by 6 because you can terastallize any Pokemon on your team,
Sure.
I think it's still way easier to play around than just such a big snowball potential mechanic like Dynamax. So, just as a kind of a friendly reminder to everybody, hold your horses.
Yeah.
We don't know
True.
everything yet, but also don't worry too much because as everybody learns more about this mechanic, everybody's going to be on a way more even playing field than just getting ahead out of the gate with something like Dynamax where if you mess it up, you could just lose.
Yeah. It will become Pokemon is not like a solved game, right? It's not like Connect 4, which
Oh.
is like a solved game. Or tic-tac-toe, noughts and crosses, whatever you want to call it. It's not a solved game, but like it will become more solved as more information and time goes on. So definitely worth keeping in mind. Another funny thing I wanted to point out, Rose, they're motorbikes, the legendaries. I think we joked
Put
about
them up on
this.
DS. Pikes.
Like, I'm pretty sure we joked about this before on a previous
Oh,
episode when they originally announced it, and
we
it turns
did.
out actually they are motorbikes, and you can ride the
Okay.
legendaries, which is pretty wicked.
Okay, but listen. The one thing I have to point out is if you watch the footage of these two motorbike Pokemon like running around, uh the purple one does actually look like a motorcycle, like
It
vroom
does.
vroom, you are
It's cool.
driving that Pokemon around. But then the red one runs on all fours. The wheels don't move.
Well, it's
What is
prehistoric,
the point?
to be
I
fair,
don't
right? That's the
I,
difference. Like futuristic, prehistoric. I guess that's where the legs come into play. I mean,
I
just thinking
okay,
about it moving its legs really
ah.
fast is just very funny to me.
Oh, it's just so funny because it's like, "Hey, Arceus, can you give me some wheels? That'd be pretty
Yeah.
sweet, bro." Arceus, "Yeah, sure, here's some wheels. Cool, thanks. I still just wanna run
I
around.
still want to run though.
I just wanna run, bro. It's just fine. Just give me the wheels."
It is hilarious. I think it's
It's
going to
so
lead me to
funny.
get. Oh, actually, I'm still kind of debating, but I am thinking I'm leaning more towards Violet because the futuristic side of things is pretty sick. But I'm not
That's pretty cool.
100% sure what I'm going to go for yet. But the overall, we got a lot of new footage. We got, I've just brought up on the screen now, kind of a first look at a portion of the map and like how the map is going to work, and it being more open world, which is also
Yeah.
pretty sick. The idea of Pokemon being this kind of linear path is faded away a little bit over time, and now we're definitely at a point where hey, you can do any of the gyms whenever you want. Arguably, that did happen in Red and Blue, the originals. You could do some of the gyms way sooner than like you could skip like Erica and just do Koga. But
Yeah.
most people did Erica because the level thing, it wasn't like scaling levels. But now it's like, hey, you can just do whatever gym you want in whatever order you want, which is, I think, is pretty sick. It's very modern. It's way more modern than like what it's previous been. So I'm looking forward to it, and it feels a lot like Arceus in a way, Rose, where hey, surprise, surprise, like open world games, running around, seeing Pokemon everywhere, like that's really cool, and I can see where they've taken little pinches of Arceus and then just thrown them into this game.
I think that Arceus was literally a test drive of the engine they were going to use to base Scarlet and Violet off of. Not only do you get a chance to kind of see from the community's perspective whether the open world idea is something that they would like integrated into the Pokemon franchise as a whole, but also like you get to work on the technology for actually being able to create the world of Paldea without actually having to create the game and make that be the main series and such a strong departure of the other ones. So now it's like, yeah, you have this beautiful stepping stone, which is Arceus, but you also have such a fun, elevated twist onto the main series games. Like, this is a not a hot take, but like a strong take. This is going to be the most popular Pokemon title we have had ever. I believe it.
Okay.
I'm so confident.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can see that being a thing. I think, especially with the injection of more fans into Pokemon over the last couple of years, I think Sword and Shield was. It's not like you can time these things, but like Sword and Shield was like not a really. Hey, Sword and Shield's coming out while the big Pokemon boom is happening. Like, Pokemon is still super popular now, and it's definitely gotten a boost over the pandemic. Like, this is a perfect time to drop a Pokemon game and for new players to come in and experience the world like I think a lot of people imagined it as a kid. You know, you always
Yeah.
kind of talk about, a lot of people say this for any game. You go back to when the PS2, the PS1 was brand new technology, and you were like, oh my god, the graphics, you know, you were just like, oh my god, there's no way, just everything looks so real. And like now, and like the Pokemon games felt like that too. When I was playing Ruby and Sapphire for the first time as a kid, I'm like, god damn, the graphics are crazy. Like, you know, it's cartoony and like the way it is, but it's like, oh my god, it's full color. Like, this is crazy, the amount of things you can do, like the different bikes. There's just like so much content, and like this is a very, very modern Pokemon, it being super open world. The battles are all going to be obviously like they were in Sword and Shield and whatnot, but it's to a new audience that maybe hasn't really picked up a Pokemon game before. And yeah, I think it's going to be great. I've just got pictures up here of just the Eevee terastallized forms, and you know, the water form Eevee and whatnot. And obviously,
Yeah.
there's a million photos of the bikes swimming, flying, everything, which is pretty cool. All the
Look,
raids are
this
going to be
is
a thing too.
the terastallized Pokemon is what I was referring to when I was thinking about what could TCG possibly do to up themselves. And I think this is it. Like, could you just imagine a foil card with this beautiful gemstone
Yes,
like cut and shine?
it's
Yeah.
that is
Oh
going
yeah.
to be insane. Like, you spoke about it a minute ago, Rose, but like to inject even more life into the card game, because I think the card game and the sets that have been out recently have been crazy, with the character res being more of a common thing now. But now we get terrestrialized cards too, and they're going to be a crazy new version of like a V-Star of like the most powerful cards, but they're all going to be kind of different types, and it very much reminds me. And okay, maybe I foresaw this, Rose, just maybe.
Okay.
Distinctly remember a few episodes ago saying, I actually quite like Delta species. And I like the idea of like Pokemon being other types. There is a Charizard, for
Yeah.
example, in Crystal Guardians that is a electric type. And there, I think Blastoise was also an electric, or was Blastoise grass type? It might be grass type. I can't remember. I think Blastoise is grass type in Crystal Guardians. But the Charizard, for example, is electric type. And then there's also a Mewtwo that's a fire type. Like, this. Maybe I predicted it. Maybe I'm just too big brain.
You were just onto something.
I was. I mean, hey, it's a cool thing, like having your favorite Pokemon be a different type and it playing a different way. And I think that's fantastic. I mean, I've got a screenshot up here with a Slowking, which is terrestrialized into water form, and then a Dragonite, which is going fire. So a complete kind of departure from the dragon typing of
Yeah,
Dragonite
exactly.
and going straight into fire. No, it looks really fun. I hope people don't get too bogged with thinking about all the different matchups and like how maybe it could be like super busted and stuff like that, because the game overall, it looks really beautiful too. I know Sword and Shield got a little bit of flack because, you know, the trees, the polygons and stuff like that. It was
Yeah,
quite
well,
funny,
you know what?
but there is a
Don't
lot that goes into the Pokemon games, to be fair. Like the amount of data, and you know, the Switch is a powerful bit of kit, but it's not like it came out a year
It's
ago.
not a computer.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And it's not. It still has to fit all the hardware inside of its small shell. So it looks, for a Switch game, it's gonna look good, and I think Scarlet and Violet are going to be a good starting point for a lot of new fans too.
yeah, I am super, super, super excited about just what Scarlet and Violet's going to hold. The fact that there's like three different main portions of the storyline just besides completing the gyms. I think is just such a fun new way to look at things, and then they have the multiplayer mode.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fantastic. Like I know I sound like I'm hyping up the game so much, but
Well, I mean,
just
you're just excited about it, and that's
I just can't wait.
yeah. I think in a time and an age where it's very easy to be pessimistic about a lot of things, and that's not just because of like COVID and and being in lockdown or whatever, but it's very
Yeah,
easy in this information rich age where information is literally at your fingertips, and oh my god, the amount of distractions and like TikTok like sucking away all of your attention span. It's very easy to get pessimistic about a lot of things, and like more often than not, and this is how I like view films, this is a very like departure from like Pokemon now, but this is how I view films. Like, if it doesn't have to be completely thematically accurate, and like the acting may be a bit like kind of bad, and maybe the storyline isn't great, but if there's like cool action and there's some cool fight sequences and like scenes like that, like I'm not that fussed. Like I'm more in it for like the experience of like seeing a kind of a cool film. It's like a Marvel film, like where some people complain about XY Marvel film, but it's still like Marvel superhero beating up bad guys and doing like cool stunts and stuff like that. And that's how I think people need to look at things sometimes, just through that lens of just, it's probably going to be an enjoyable product because it is a Pokemon game after all, and they are very fun experiences to run through for your first, second time. It's not going to be another complete departure from the Pokemon as a base game. It's still going to be turn-based battles, and you're going to progress through gym leaders. You're going to beat the Elite Four, and there's, luckily enough, additional storylines and additional things you can do here, there, and everywhere. So, yeah, it's easy to get pessimistic about things, but if you just put a little bit of happiness behind it, and it's going to be a fun Pokemon game, you might enjoy it a whole bunch more. That's what I will say. And the new Pokemon look kind of funny too, Rose. I think I will quickly kind of touch on that if I can find some photos real fast.
We have Cetitan, which is that big ice whale that could stand up on two legs. Yep. We also have Fido. Oh my god, Fido.
The donut dog.
Oh my god.
It
I'm
looks
gonna die. So cute.
It honestly just looks like a bunch of pastries just combined into a dog. Like, you could make this out of bread. You know what I mean? You could someone could probably make a cake and it'll look exactly like this. It looks like the perfect companion.
Made Fido. Someone has made Fido already on the internet. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. But yeah, like, it's so cute. When these Pokemon get excited, they intimidate their opponents by puffing up their bodies to appear bigger. And Fido ferments things in its vicinity using the yeast in its breath. Like, what? That's so cool. Like, there's so much lore behind this Pokemon.
It's the bread puppy Pokemon. It looks like the perfect companion to Alcremie. Like just one of the cafe Pokemon. So yeah, it's just well, here's another Pokemon that belongs in a cafe. The cafe owner in Sword and Shield. Like, there you go, there's another one. So that's pretty cool. I like the Wooper form too. Wooper's got a brand new look. Poison Ground. Wooper has always been great as a Pokemon. I love Wooper. It's just it just seems to be happy in almost every situation, every single kind of meme. I remember this one specific image from the anime of loads of Pokemon getting swept away by a river, and then there's Wooper just kind of chilling and smiling, just happily getting swept away. So yeah, Wooper looking cool. It's a Poison Ground type now, rather than just a Water and Ground, what it was before. So that's pretty sweet. So brand new region forms too.
Yes, very, very cool that we get a chance to see some of these. I know there have been some leaks about other things that will be in the game. Please do not talk about leaks. Anything that is unconfirmed by Pokemon or an official source. We just don't want to spoil anything for anybody else that's trying to be spoiler free. So we don't want to talk about those, but I mean, we're kind of expecting regional forms, I think, for every game going forward. I think that's going to be a thing. But like, on my wish list personally, I just want Oricorio back in the game. Salsa, Baile, Oricorio, give me that form in Spain, the region, Spain, base, just please.
That would be pretty sick. I think a lot of
All
people
I
are excited
want.
to see the decks and like what Pokemon are going to be included. I know some people in my Discord, they
Yeah.
really like Houndoom and Houndour, and they're in the game apparently this time around, so that's pretty awesome. I just hope things like Tyranitar and Latios are in the game. Alakazam too. Give me Alakazam.
Oh, yes, please.
That would be great. I love me some Alakazam. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm excited to see the Pokédex eventually like fill out as time goes on. But yeah, Scarlet and Violet from the Pokemon Presents. Like I said before, I'll link all of these articles, even the Cerebi ones, down in the description if you wanted to go look. And if you're listening on Spotify, of course, you can jump over to the YouTube channel and have a look at them and all the images on Poke Beach. But yeah, okay, we've kind of discussed that. And to round out the episode today, Rose, there is going to be a lot more Scarlet and Violet news, I will say. But we'll discuss that as time goes on. Oh no, one more topic before we move on to Pokemon Card of the Week. Worlds. Very soon. Coming up. And you are on the talent team. Very cool.
I am. Yeah, I'm super excited about that. I get to go to London. I'll be there for about a week in terms of just like preparation. And then we've got 4 days of official event stuff. This is the very first time that the World Championships will be a 4-day affair. It's usually 3. And so it's going to be a long weekend, that is for sure. But it was really cool because the rest of the Pokemon Presents, they had their normal stuff. They did the game updates and obviously the Scarlet and Violet news. But we also got a cool segment done by the global esports director for Pokemon, Chris Brown. And he got a chance to sit down and tell everybody about the World Championships that's coming up in just a few weeks' time. It's great because we've got the VGC, the TCG, and Pokken. Unfortunately, it is going to be Pokken's last year being at the World Championships, but we have also added 2 other titles in Go and, of course, Pokemon Unite. And it's going to be so exciting to see all of these trainers, all of these teams duke it out for not only the championship title, but also we got a chance to see a new trophy for the World Championships as well, which was shown off during the events.
I will bring that up right now if I can.
It was pretty neat. Not only just to see the esports side of Pokemon get so much official coverage, because I feel like that's not been a norm. I would say for the presents, it's always been very game centric and focused. But I love that there's being some attention paid to literally the biggest event of the year. And we've been waiting for Worlds to return for so many years now.
I mean, yeah, that is just unfortunately the curse of COVID, right? Has been live events have just been so difficult, and they, to be fair, they are still fairly difficult to run. Like, there's been quite a few esports events recently where people have just gotten COVID, and there's like nothing you can do. It's just a thing, sadly. But it's good to see them put a lot of effort into this. I've just got the trophy up on the screen now, which Rose tweeted out. It looks pretty cool. I quite like it. It's Pikachu holding the trophy, sitting on a Pokeball, which is also held up by some like pyramid spikes.
I don't know what to call them.
Don't know, but it's pretty cool. It looks pretty neat. Of course, it has to involve Pikachu. I'm surprised they didn't put Eevee on there somehow, but yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, Pikachu's gonna always be the mascot, but
True.
I love that there's always these different elements to it that do make it different than the trophy that you would receive at like an international, for example, because we have medals for the regional events, we've got the Pikachu trophies for internationals, and now we get a different trophy for Worlds, and I think that's pretty cool. There are a couple people in the community that have mixed opinions about it. Maybe it's like well, it's too much, right? Or the Pikachu trophy itself was fine. Like I would have loved to have just that. But I kind of like the idea that you could have 3 different tiers of prizes basically for securing an event at level.
Yeah, more the better. Like, at the end of the day, like it's only a bit of fun at the end of it all. Like, we talk about video games, we play video games. The people that compete. It's all for fun at the end of it all. Like, I don't think anybody's going in only playing for the money, otherwise you wouldn't end up getting too far, you know. So yeah, I'm excited to watch it. It's going to be a good time in London too, which is even better. I really wish, this is one of the only times I'm like, man, I wish I was back home, you know, like back in the UK, so I could jump over there, because they're probably they have opened a pop-up shop for a Pokemon Center in London, which is pretty sick.
Speaking of which, if we didn't talk about this last episode, quick update on that is that you do need to book a reservation for the Pokemon Center.
Oh,
However, it is open to everybody regardless of whether you have a spectator pass or not. So even if you're not attending the actual event as a spectator, or obviously as a competitor or as a talent, you can go. You can just book a reservation. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It's definitely a good way of doing it, booking reservations, because otherwise you will not be able to move. Like, there will be too many people trying to get into that one small store, which was supposed to be just like a temporary thing. So it's definitely a good idea to do it that way. I will link the World Championships info on the Pokemon website in the description as well. There's the actual location. It's in XL London, which I've been to multiple times. It's a very nice place. Super nice down there. It's also got all the player info for TCG, VGC, Go, Unite, and Pokken, and all the prizes and everything else. So yeah, you can go ahead and look at that. To round out the show, though, we've got Pokemon Card of the Week. Bit of a different one. This week, we have Gengar VMAX from Fusion Strike, a set we've spoken about in the past. It's got Mew, so it's automatically one of the cooler sets for myself in recent memory. But this artwork is pretty sick. Just Gengar just swallowing the entirety of a landscape. And again, it's a little bit more trippy artwork, which I always enjoy.
I love it too. Yeah, I think it's just so funny because like Gengar just has like this face of like, yeah, like so what? What are you gonna do about it if I just like, I don't know, take everything around you? Like, what are you gonna do, huh? And then I don't the haunted houses in the back with like the starlit sky. There's just something about this card art that's really cool, and I know that the Mew in Fusion Strike gets a lot of love, but I thought the Gengar has been a little bit underrated.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And this is one of my favorite things about the newest sets too. These alternate arts are done by completely different artists. And it feels like the Pokemon Company very much give them free reign and like, okay, this is what the Pokemon looks like. This is like its kind of moves. Go crazy. And they do. Always do. And the alt arts always look ridiculous. It reminds me of the Palkia Dialga one with the trippy paintings. I always forget the artist that did that originally, but with the more... Oh, and... Usher? No. MC Hammer? No.
Wait, yes, that sounds familiar.
God damn it, I've forgotten.
You're
but
talking
yeah,
about like the melting clocks, right? Salvador Dali.
Oh, Salvador Dali for the melting clocks.
Oh,
but I'm talking about the Palkia one in the staircases that go up the side of the walls and everything else. Oh,
yeah.
It's gonna kill me. But yes, that is the one I mean. But my point is, it's cool to see
MC Usher.
MC Usher. There you go. I MC Hammer and then Usher. Okay. Well,
yeah, you got them right. Just you gotta combine them.
Yeah, MC Usher. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, I thought we'd give a shout out to Gengar VMAX in this one, which is great. There is a new Japanese set coming out, I believe, soon. That was kind of hinted at, but we won't cover it in this episode. That'll very much be for down the line. But yeah, apart from that, that is all today. A bit of a longer episode, but there was a lot to talk about. Scarlet and Violet is on the horizon. More news on the way. And make sure you go check out Rose on the Pokemon broadcast for the World Championship. That's going to be a sick time. Yeah. Other than that, it's good. And we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.